Hey folks, good morning. We got the call again. We're hauling some corn today. Soybeans are all done, and it's kind of a hurried situation. We've got to get this corn in. So stick around if you want to ride along. Be happy to have you. Here's my load coming in. All right, that's the load. I'm gonna roll our tarp because it's not too windy yet. All right, we are loaded up and eastbound and down. We're gonna make like a baby and head out. Now we have been hauling to a local feed mill up to the elevator, about a 20-minute drive away to the west. And because of the traffic up there, we weren't able to get these two fields done because the trucks were having to wait up there to dump, and which caused the combine to wait in the field. So we weren't able to get these two fields done and be finished for the season. This is the last field we're on for the 2025 corn season. And then because there was so much traffic up there, the elevator actually, they filled the bin and they have no more room in their dryer. So they wanted to stop for the weekend long enough to process all that and said we could start bringing it again on Monday. Because of those high winds we're supposed to be getting and the farmers not wanting the corn to lay down, Monday's not going to work. So they've decided to take the bulk of what we have left over to the bin site that they have, but it's 20 minutes to the east. So that's going to have to all be hauled back 40 minutes back to the west to get unloaded. So it's not very cost efficient to truck it both ways like that, but it would be a lot less cost efficient if all that corn laid down on the ground and you weren't able to harvest it. Now here's the bin site here we're rolling up on. If you've been with the channel a while, you've been here before. Got a pit here that we dump on. Because we've dumped here many times before, we know that that's right where our rear reels need to be lined up for our first trap. Now this pit will hold the whole front hopper of this trailer, so we can just let her rip. Now each one of these bins holds 50,000 bushels. And these trucks hold about 1,000 bushels each, so about 50 trucks in each bin. So now that we've got our front trap empty, I pull forward and I know where my rear wheels of the trailer need to stop. Once you figure out your landmarks, about right there. And then we wait exactly 5 minutes, which would be 9:20, and we can dump that whole rear hopper. Now this bin site is set up real nice. Normally when you change bins, you have a big auger elevator that you have to maneuver around and get lined up with the bin. This elevator has a center point here and wheels on it here, so all you got to do is jack it up, which you tighten the cable and this thing comes up, which moves the elevator up. And then this thing's got wheels on it. It just moves perfectly to the next bin and is perfectly lined up. You just have to get it side to side and then drop it right back down in the top of the bin. that beautiful? Once you're all done, you sweep everything in so the truck doesn't grind it when it comes across, because people pay for corn, not cornmeal. Now we don't have to wait for this pit to empty, because this system is designed, once it senses there's no more load, when that pit is empty, this all shuts down by itself. So we can get straight back on the road. Got a quick turnaround time, and the combine's not sitting waiting in the field. They can keep on going. So we've got a beautiful trip back to the field, back through the back roads, because I go the back roads to stay off the highway. Most of the people on the highway do not know how to drive around trucks, and it's not their fault. They're just not taught that. The other day, case in point, there was a person that decided at the last minute to turn left and slowed down very fast, and they could not turn because there was 5 vehicles coming the other direction, so they had to sit there in the road. And here I come, fully loaded, 80 to 100,000 pounds, depending on what we had on, and trucks don't stop on a dime. And I had to kind of go around him on the right hand side. Luckily I had a spot to do so, because otherwise that would have been ugly. So we'll show you some of this beautiful Nebraska countryside on the way back to the field. I just love it out here. It's a beautiful morning. beautiful country, isn't it? Most people think Nebraska is all flat, but pretty much anywhere north of I-80 is kind of all rolling hills. It'd be a lot prettier without all them windmills too, in my opinion. It's just pretty crazy, I think, all the people that love this green energy and love nature will plop one of those big behemoths right down in the middle of nature. But don't get me started on those. Now, if you want to educate yourself on windmills, the most spot-on comments I've ever heard on windmills was from a series called Landman that stars Billy Bob Thornton. It's another one of Taylor Sheridan's series. And I've been enjoying it, getting ready for season 2 to come out. But in the season 1, Billy Bob Thornton has a scene where he talks about windmills. If you look it up on YouTube, the clip's on YouTube, look up Landman Billy Bob Thornton on windmills or something like that, it'll pop up. But it's a pretty spot-on description of the issues with these windmills. One other issue I have with them is the windmills have a shelf life. They don't last forever, of course, and they're saying around 10 to 15 years they have to be replaced. Well, already up here in northwestern Nebraska, there's a place where they're storing all of these used windmill blades because they can't recycle them. And the EPA is getting kind of concerned that this guy's storing all these used windmill blades at his place, and he's like, oh, we're not disposing of them here, we're just storing them here. Well, you know how that's going to work. They're going to get them all stored there. The guy's getting paid to store them there by these companies that need a place to put them. And then he's going to disappear, file bankruptcy or whatever, and leave all those windmill blades there. There's other places like down in the desert where they're just covering them in sand. They're burying hundreds of them out there with bulldozers in the sand. But not sustainable. Alright, we are back at the field. There's a load waiting on me already, so I'll have a quick turnaround. Quick little coffee break while we're loading. You take your little breaks while you're waiting to get loaded or unloaded. It's when you eat your meals and stuff like that, because you got to stay on the road and keep that combine working. Less than 5 minutes and we're gone again. Another round. Alright, we just unloaded our 4th load here. My cousins did like 5 or 6 already this morning. And then just got a text from the boss. The last 4 loads, which will be 2 truckloads and 2 grain carts full, we're going to leave in the yard. So they don't have to be trucked all the way over here. When the elevator at the grain or the feed mill opens again on Monday, they'll just haul it straight over there instead of bringing it all the way back. Got a big puppa plower coming down the road, so we're going to wait here and let him go by. Going to start on some fall tillage, it looks like. Bald eagle eating something on the road. Raccoon. Alright, we are back in the yard, shutting her down. So they're going to load this here in the yard. I'm going to go out. You want to take a ride on the combine? Let's head out there. We're going to go do the last pass in the field. Wind's coming up, getting done just in time. Alright, almost the last pass here in the field. 12-row combine. Combine's got auto steer. You hear it beeping, and that's the sound it makes when it's on track. see if there's critters running out when we get to the other end. A lot of times the critters will run around the field in front of the combine, and once they run out of room, they run out the end. So you'll see as this combine runs through the field, it grabs the stalk and strips it down through the head, and it leaves the corn cobs right there on top. You'll see the corn cobs piling up there, and then the corn cobs are fed into the feeder there. But the corn stalk is shredded down underneath of the head, and a lot of it trash flies out behind the combine. Time to offload some corn into the cart. Cousin Aaron's driving the cart today. Unload on the go. One of those carts will fill, when it's full, will fill that hopper bottom trailer we were pulling. Alright, seen some rabbits darting around in here. We'll see if they're on the end of the row, or if they run over to the area that's not cut yet. Bump. There's a little rabbit there. Take off, buddy. No rows of shame when you have auto pass. You get them all. Going through the pivot track, a little bumpy. Combines have lots of automation on them now. You can see, it'll even tell you the yield through the field. That colored map there varies in color depending on the yield in the field. It'll tell you how many bushels per acre and all that. There's a view of the whole field there, or two fields actually. But lots of info coming in. You can make all your adjustments from in here inside the cab. You're not out there turning wrenches anymore. Okay, we're coming up on the end of the field again, see if we got any more critter. Sometimes the deer will even run out. This part of the field's been combined for a couple days though, so maybe everything took off. There's a rabbit. A couple bunny rabbits, that's about it. Boys are going to have to find some more cover. Last corn of 2025 going in the cart. Gauge that just about right. Almost have a full truck. Well, you can't get any closer than that. Gonna put her away for another year. Last load going in. What's up, cuz? Well, the boss told me about a project they've been trying to do for a couple years. They've got a geothermal greenhouse they're building, and I guess they've got it started. So we came out to take a look at it. Boy, this thing is huge. Looks to be about 80 feet long. They've got all the concrete work done. Looks like they're starting some of the construction over here on the top side of it. And they've got a nice ramp going down in there. But the concept of this is you've got the greenhouse sunk down into the ground where you get a lot of the heat, the natural heat from the earth, and then you'll have just a kind of a roof up here letting sunlight in. You've got kind of a ground level bed here, so when you're standing down in here, let's walk down in there. That's cool. You can see once you have soil and stuff in here, you'll have a ground level bed. You can plant vegetables and stuff like that. And then here on the north side of the greenhouse is where you would plant your trees. And they're planning on growing some citrus here in Nebraska, which you cannot do unless you have something like this. But you can grow tomatoes and citrus and stuff all year long in this greenhouse. It'll have the structure with the roof. You don't need a clear wall on the north side, so it'll probably be solid. And then you'll have the clear roof on this side. Now the other thing that's cool about this, you can see all this tubing over here. That's for a geothermal loop that they put in. So what you do, oh, they've got some stairs over here too. That's cool. That's probably to get down underneath here where all the equipment will be. But anyway, this loop, you dig it down about 6 to 8 feet and you do a real big loop out in the ground. And then you blow air through those tubes. So the ground around here is generally about 52 degrees year-round down that deep. So in the summertime, when you blow air through those tubes, you're getting a cooling effect. Instead of being at 100 degrees in the greenhouse, you can bring the temperature down to where you're not scorching all your plants. Now in the winter, when it's 30 below out here, that 52 degrees actually warms it in the winter. So you can maintain a nice even temperature in your greenhouse, and that's the way it works, and it's super cool. I would love to build a smaller version of one of these on the homestead, just something maybe I could put 2 or 3 trees in and a ground level bed, but this is going to be super fantastic. I encouraged him to plant a Washington Navel and a Meyer Lemon because those are like my favorite. Here's the underneath down here where the equipment's probably going to go. The stairs going up. This upper part will be all your storage, I'm sure, for all your, potting mix and pots and stuff like that. But love the ramp idea. That's awesome. So you can get carts and stuff in and out of there as you're harvesting. This is going to be super cool. Now you might be thinking 52 degrees, that's too cold for a greenhouse to grow anything. Well, that's just like a thermal battery, so when your nighttime lows get down to like 30 below, it just keeps your stuff from freezing. So your overnight low would be about 52. During the day, the sunlight comes in and warms everything up to a normal temp. All right, my friends, got all my gear out of the truck. We are going to head home. Kelly's home today on the weekend. It's a Saturday, so we're going to do some more stuff around the homestead because we've got to get ready for the big cold air blast also. But been a fun ride today, and really enjoyed helping out with harvest again, and great family to work for. Don't ever have any problem helping them out. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you come back and see us real soon here on Mark Kelly Farm. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Love you guys. See you soon.